Welcome back to The Charismatic Voice. When I first heard that Linkin Park was releasing a new song, my first thought was, is this real or is it made by AI? But band members have confirmed this is a real song recorded from before Chester Bennington's death. And I am shocked that we are just now hearing it. So let's get to it.
Just a scar somewhere down inside of me, something I cannot repair, even though it will always be. I pretend it isn't there. This is how I feel. I'm trapped in yesterday, where the pain is all I know, and I'll never break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost.
Whoa. Wow. The lyrics to this, especially in hindsight, really cut deep. I'm listening to this and thinking, like, this is before he committed suicide. It's just so poignant and definitely makes things feel jumbled inside. It makes you feel incredibly sad. And the video, I believe, was created by AI. So just tossing that out there. And it's really cool, actually. I'm digging it a bunch. I feel like I think it was based off of some performances, but there's it's so interesting to see that. However, voice-wise, I know it's extremely, extremely difficult to actually capture a lead singer's expression in AI. It can be done. It has been done. But I think it'd be very, very difficult to capture Chester Bennington's voice in this way. So I believe that this is actually him. There's so much pain in his voice, and then that distortion. It's just like, yeah, I think it'd be extremely hard to actually fake his voice. So for all those out there that were wondering the same thing as me, I think this is actually Chester. Wow. Okay, gonna go back to the beginning. It's so interesting. I've dipped my toes in Linkin Park. I'm not familiar with most of their catalog, right? I've been going through a few songs on the channel. This has a decisively more futuristic kind of vibe than other songs I've heard them perform. I think it has to do with the synth partly. There's like a certain bounciness to it. And then when you get that heavy sound in there, you still have those synths in the background. So it feels almost like apocalyptic. One more time from the beginning. Right. Do you hear that? There's like a certain lightly uplifting kind of synth sound that feels more futuristic. I love the anime film, I gotta say.
Just a scar somewhere down inside of me, something I cannot repair, even though it will always be. I pretend it isn't there. This is how I feel. I'm trapped in yesterday, where the pain is all I know.
Okay, I have to say, I really love the sound of his voice when it's more produced like this. I've heard him sing in a lot of live settings so far, and he pushes things a little sharp a lot of times. He'll play with the pitch. He's really going for the sound of pain. And when you feel pain, you often will vocally, a lot of times people will just push higher in pitch when they're in pain. So you hear that in his performances live, and it's very, very exciting. Here, I think there might have been a little bit of pitch correction done to his voice. It feels like the pitch is a lot more centered and stable, but you get that painful edge, which wouldn't be surprising because you'd have some of those upper overtones coming through as well. And I also hear I think there's a certain softening of the edges as well in some ways where it feels a little bit more expansive. Maybe that's in some of the verb or the mic choice they were using. And I think that really works for this overall futuristic sound. And I heard a little bit when we get further into, I'm not sure if it was the chorus, but at least there's like a heavier part that it's about to go into. That expansiveness in his sound doesn't take away from that massive distortion that he's going to hit later. I think that I'm digging the production overall in the voice. I think it's exciting to see this kind of singer live. I want to hear them push. I want to hear them push sharp in a concert. I want to hear that raw emotion just pour out. But it's really interesting to hear what that productive or produced idea sounds like and know, oh, this might have been what their like final ideal version of the song might sound like. Okay, back to where he started. Here. Right, there's also a tenderness here that I haven't heard as much before. It's like pure somehow. That hits. Like it's so hard because I really think about how much Chris Cornell's death impacted him. You know, I think it's about 2 months later that he died then, and both by suicide, taking their own lives, and hearing this sort of this wrecked emotion and understanding how much pain they struggled through. I think it's really important for everybody to get help when you're in a dark spot. So please do. There are tons of resources. I'm a very, very strong believer in mental health, but I think it's also especially important for artists or people that are working in ways that is continually strengthening emotions. When you're singing about things like this, sometimes those emotions get stronger and stronger and stronger. You're letting them grow and learning ways to channel them out. And sometimes I think when you've built your heart up in that way so much, you need to have help to help keep that balanced. And I think it's an especially dangerous area for artists. So, whoever you are, if you have difficulties, and you're feeling lost too, just know that there is help. There are people to help you. And if you're an artist, I think keep a wary eye. Know that if you're going to explore expressing and sharing that darker side, just give yourself extra time and extra support to stay really mentally healthy. It's really, really important. We cannot lose more people like this. So let's go back a little bit. Oh my gosh.
Break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion, lost all my dignity, living inside my own confusion, but I'm tired how blindly I believed.
Wow. The ring on his voice is just incredible. Like, there's so much buzz in those overtones. I think if you were to pull it out and look at it in a spectrogram and just have his isolated vocals, truly isolated vocals, not ones where you've taken things away and, then put it through some software to isolate the vocals. No, if I had the actual track, sometimes you need to take them away and you do isolated vocals. It'll destroy parts of the overtones trying to isolate them more. So if I had the actual track and we looked at it, I bet you would see that the first overtone, which is going to be like an octave above, it's so bright, it's so ringy. You just hear this like almost metallic sheen in his sound, and that's because it's so bright there. You might even see up above another octave, another brightness there. This is all following harmonics, right? And those things are enhanced by different bones and different ways that we shape the sound up here. So we'll create the sound first in our vocal folds, if we can speak right. Vocal folds create a pitch here, and then up above it, that's where that sound goes ping, 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 ping. And all of these different areas enhance the sound to have overtones or to make brighter harmonics above. And that's what can create that extra ringiness sometimes. And Chester's voice here has a ton of extra ring. I'm going to go back again here. I love that transition in the video.
I'm tired. I will always be afraid of the damage I've received, broken promises they made, and how blindly I believed.
Oh my gosh. It's like, these lyrics are amazing. I'll always be afraid of the damage I've received. Whoa, I mean, we're human, thus we're damaged. Everybody has gotten damaged at some point in their life. And you have to learn how to work through that, work past it, or learn how to live in a healthy way with it. Or I feel like it can just come back and maybe be worse a second time or a third time or a fourth time. It can come back and get you. And I think it very much came back to him. Wow, it's just so human.
Damage I've received, broken promises they made, and how blindly I believed. I will never break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion, lost all my dignity, living inside my own confusion.
I'm so grateful and happy that we have music to expand upon mental health struggles at this point. It was such a quiet struggle and quiet topic for a long time, and I feel that more and more we're allowed to talk about it, which is really healthy. But man, seeing this person curled up and just tumbling, I feel that. I feel how awful it can be to tumble in a downward spiral for a long time. It's so tough. And as somebody who's done a lot of therapy and, fought against my own demons and come up on the other end, truly having an extremely joyful life now, I just have to say it's totally worth it, guys. Therapy is so helpful. You got to find the right therapist, though. I've had bad ones and I've had good ones. Good ones were great. I'm going to go back again.
Never break away, 'cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories.
All right, that's an amazing image.
Behind my own illusion, lost all my dignity, living inside my own confusion.
So this is what is so attractive about Chester's voice, in my opinion, is this sound right here. There are other singers that can have that pure, wistful kind of sound, but combining this, it sounds so youthful, so naive sometimes. Combining that sound with this grit, this distortion that just feels shattering inside, I think it has anger and fury, yet longing inside of it. It is so packed full of intense emotion. And I think that is why people relate to his voice so strongly. I it's a voice of the human condition in many, many ways. I'm gonna go back a little bit. Keep going. I knew I wanted more of Chester Bennington's voice, and I didn't know until that moment how much I wanted his voice to be in tons and tons of layers. I love the way that they've shifted the imaging of his voice to come from different areas within headphones or speaker monitors. If you have them up, I'm sure you can hear that. That's great. It's like ping, 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 ping. Love the different layers. I love how his voice stacks. I think it's because of the amazing texture that he's got when he has that naive, wistful sound, yet the distortion, the grit on top, right? That it already feels like a very thick sound, but it has a piercing aspect as well. And so we get these different images that are clear yet full, and it's really quite extraordinary. Oh, also super smart. Listen to the way that the music drops out right before it starts to stack. Right? It's very sparse here. One more time. Total drop. Just his voice. And then we go into the layers. And it dropped low on the bass too. And one of the things that's really successful in the layering everywhere here is the way that some of the lines are going very long and some of them are very short. Some are saying different words as well. So you feel like you're just in a swirl of Chester Bennington's voice. Go back further. Wow. So interesting, the AI generation in this. I like that they've leaned into that, and it's so interesting that they leaned into that for the visuals while we have this huge conversation in society right now surrounding AI creation of all kinds of other things like a chatbot or artwork or voices. And I made a video on the Singing Hole that specifically talks about AI creation and voice. So if you want to talk and learn more about why I don't think that this is an AI that's recreated Chester Bennington's voice, you should go check that video out. I will definitely put a link up there for it. It's I really truly believe that this is Chester Bennington's voice and not an AI recreation of it.
Living behind my own illusion.
Oh my gosh. We're gonna go back. I don't want this to end yet. Wow. Like, if there was one thing I could do to this song, it would be to like elongate it 2 more minutes.
Living behind my own illusion.
Like, the absolute gut-wrenching sound he has on that extended Lost, it's incredible. Like, that's just, again, it feels so human and so full of expression.
My own illusion. Lost all my dignity. Living inside my own confusion.
Oh, God. Wow. I have to wonder why they didn't release this earlier. It's incredible. I love the sound of Chester's voice in this, and the lyrics are phenomenal. They just feel so relatable. It feels like something people need to be talking about right now. And I hope that by listening to it, many people do talk more about it. If you would like to dive more into AI and maybe understand a little bit more about that vocal recreation and why I think that this is actually truly original, despite some theories that I've heard, you can check out this link to the AI video I talked about earlier. And may you fall more in love with music every day.